everybody, and welcome to another episode of What If Midoriya Had the Omnitrix. If you've missed any of the previous parts or episodes, there will be a link in the description below. If you like this series and want to see more of it, please let me know by hitting that like button or by saying so in the comments below. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments below or in my Discord server. Links to that in the description. Since your suggestions do help a lot and do influence the series. For example, right now we're going to a made-up arc, which is the Highbreed arc, kind of taken from Ben 10, thanks to your guys' suggestions. Now, with that out of the way, let's get started with the video. In the previous episode, Midoriya, along with the agency he was doing his work study with, and some other agencies, they teamed up with to raid the Chihei Hazaikai in order to save a little girl named Eri, with a DNA alien invasion version of Ben attacking Night Eye late at night and killing him a couple of days after. About 2 weeks ago, Ben hangs up on Midoriya after telling him that he couldn't do his work study with the plumbers because they are currently understaffed. Ben checks his computer to check his to-do list. He sees the time and exclaims, "Crap, I'm late! I'm supposed to be in Dock 5. He runs to Dock 5 where a bunch of plumbers, including his cousin and Kevin, are boarding a ship. When he arrives, Gwen says, "You're late." Kevin says, "Seriously, dude, we're going to go to war and you're arrive late to say goodbye?" Ben says, "Sorry, I had Midoriya on the phone, lost track of time." Gwen asks, "How is he doing?" Rook then joins the group and asks, "Are you sure you want to spend your last few minutes on Earth discussing this?" Ben says, "Aha! Rook was later than me." Kevin laughs and Gwen says, "No, he just went to use the bathroom." Ben asks, "Do aliens even need bathrooms?" Rook says, "Yes, we do, and I believe that is racist." Ben says, "In all seriousness, I will miss you guys." Ben hugs his cousin and then fist bumps his best friend as they board the ship. Ben says, "Do me a favor and don't die." Gwen says, "Do me a favor and keep Earth safe." Ben says, "You got it, cuz." Gwen says, "And Rook, keep him out of trouble." Rook says, "I will do my best. Stay safe." The ship leaves with the plumbers that are going to go to the Tetraman incursion war. Rook asks, "So what is the plan now?" Ben says, "I don't know about you, but I have to go deal with a couple reports over in the US. Close to my hometown, actually." Rook asks, "Do you require my assistance?" Ben responds, "No thanks, Rook. I'll be fine." Hours later, Ben finds himself investigating the surrounding areas. And for the next few days, he spends the time spying on a hive of DNA aliens he found, trying to find out why they are here. As he finally finds out their patterns and he gets an idea of what they are doing, he follows them into a mine where he finds a ship. He hides behind a corner when his phone goes off. He grabs the phone while thinking, "Damn it, I forgot to put it on silence. How could I be so stupid and careless?" He hangs up and sees the caller's Midoriya and thinks, "Damn it, Midoriya." He looks over the corner to see if anyone heard him or saw him. Turning around, he thinks he is safe, but when he turns, he sees he's punched in the face by an alien. A couple of hours later, he wakes up in front of a Highbreed commander, restrained with his weapons taken away and without his communicator. The Highbreed asks, "What are you doing here? And who are you exactly?" Ben gets ready to use his quirk, but before he can, the Highbreed commander says, "I wouldn't advise that, plumber. If you try to use your abilities, then you and many of your hostages will be killed. We use technologies you use in your prisons to detect when you use it. The only way you can hope to survive is by answering my questions. Who are you, and what are you doing here?" Ben answers, "My name is Ben Tennyson, and I was just having a look around. I fell in a hole and found myself in a strange place." The Highbreed commander punches the wall, creating a crack, while screaming, "Lies! You were investigating us. You are a plumber, and you are here by choice, not chance. Ben says, am I now? I can't tell the difference. The commander says, fine. If you won't answer my questions, maybe a little incentive is needed. The commander grabs a Xenosight and puts it on Ben's face. Ben tries to resist, but a couple of hours later he's fully taken over. Once he's a DNA alien, he tells the Highbreed everything he knows. After hearing what Ben was up to, the Highbreed says, this can be used to our advantage. You will infiltrate the Plumber base, planting viruses, and wait for their instruction. It was most fortunate that Ben Tennyson didn't report anything yet. Ben, now being a DNA alien, is given his equipment back and an ID mask to hide the fact that he's a DNA alien. He goes to the Plumber base where he infects the system with a virus, giving the Highbreed access to Plumber's computers and disabling a lot of vital systems, even adding a system to block the Plumbers from interfering. Ben also sends Rook on a mission, a wild goose chase, and he also gives them a lot of false information. The Highbreed then looked through all of the information the Plumbers had, including all the information on Pro Heroes and the government, and they told Ben to go kill Night-Eye, which he did. Once he finishes, he is told to kill the wielder of the Omnitrix. In present day, one day after the death of Night-Eye, Midoriya is training in class, being pretty happy that he managed to save Eri. He is currently conducting some rescue training, using Wildvine to stabilize a broken building. After the exercise is finished, Midoriya is about to go change when Aizawa stops him. Aizawa says, Midoriya, I have something to tell you. He turns to the other students who currently have workplace studies and says, to tell all of you, in fact. The students separate from the group, and Aizawa continues, sadly, something happened last night. The pro hero you all worked with, Night-Eye, was killed yesterday evening while off duty. The police haven't found any clues as to who could have done it, but the event has raised some red flags in the school board, and sadly they are deciding to cancel your workplace studies, at least for the time being. Uraka says, what? This isn't fair. We worked very hard to get them, and have trained with them for a while. Aizawa says, I understand, but the situation is that if we have a target, any of you could be as well. So it was decided that the workplace studies would be cancelled for the time being, because you're all targets. The students are bummed out, and Midoriya is saddened about Night-Eye's death. He even thinks of maybe going there to find out who did it and help with the police investigation. Aizawa adds, at least this gives you all the chance to catch up on your schoolwork and your training. Now go change. The students say, yes, sir. As he walks to the locker room, Midoriya gets a text from Ben saying, meet me at Mr. Smoothie's in an hour. Midoriya thinks, what would he want? I'm glad he's okay. He's been gone for a few days. After changing, Midoriya goes to talk to the teachers and gets permission to go to Mr. Smoothie's to meet his friend. Midoriya arrives at the Mr. Smoothie's and has a look around, not seeing anybody. He walks to the salesman and says, give me a good day smoothie, medium size, please. The salesman says, that'll be 500 yen. Midoriya pays up and takes a seat while waiting for Ben taking the smoothie in the meantime. After 2 minutes, the smoothie is ready. Midoriya goes to pick it up, and the moment he does, he gets near the booth. A DNA alien jumps at him, trying to punch him. Midoriya jumps out of the way, rolling forwards. He gets back up and looks at who is attacking him. The DNA alien shoots some of its mucus at Midoriya. Midoriya barely evades as he opens up the Omnitrix and hits it without looking. He transforms into blocks. Midoriya says, huh, this is a new one. He builds himself around the DNA alien, making a dome and punching it repeatedly until it's down on the ground, turning back into himself. Midoriya stands over him and inspects the body, touching it with his hand. The Omnitrix says, genetic damage detected. Would you like to repair? Before Midoriya can say anything, however, he hears some weird noises coming from behind him. Midoriya gets back up and hits the Omnitrix again, turning into Spidermonkey. As Spidermonkey, Midoriya leaps into action, taking them down a group at a time. He takes out about 7 DNA aliens when Ben shows up, blasting them. Ben shouts, "Midoriya, this way!" Midoriya follows Ben as he takes a turn and they hide in an old abandoned store. Ben says, "We should be safe here." Midoriya turns back into himself and starts inspecting the area. He gets a weird feeling and gets the Omnitrix ready. He then turns around and sees Ben pointing a gun at him. Ben shoots, but at the exact moment Midoriya hits the Omnitrix, when the plasma bullet makes contact, it just hits Diamondhead's skin, bouncing off. Ben then makes a couple of green energy bolts and shoots them at Midoriya. Midoriya just keeps walking towards Ben, taking the hit. Ben grabs the communicator and says, "Move in!" A group of 10 different DNA aliens break into the store. Midoriya looks around and punches the ground, hitting the diamond spikes coming out of the ground, hitting the DNA aliens away, all except Ben. Midoriya then grabs all the DNA aliens in Diamond. He wraps them up, trapping them. Midoriya grabs Ben by the shirt and asks, "Why are you attacking me, Ben? Who are these people?" Midoriya accidentally touches the ID mask, making it fall off and revealing that Ben is one of them. Ben says, "We are the DNA aliens. We are here to serve in your demise." Midoriya asks, "What did you do to the real Ben Tennyson?" Ben says, "I am him. He was only assimilated into the hive." Midoriya lets Ben fall on the ground and traps Ben in place. Midoriya then turns back into himself and asks, "Omnitrix, before you said you could repair the damage, is that really a thing?" The Omnitrix says, "Primary function is to repair and restore damage to DNA and bring back an extinct species." Midoriya says, "Can you cure these guys then?" A flash of light emanates from the watch, enveloping the room, turning all the DNA aliens back into human. The Omnitrix says, "Human DNA restored, recycling to recharge mode." Ben frees himself from the restraints and says, "Thank you." Midoriya helps Ben stand since he is struggling and says, "You're welcome." Ben says, "We have a problem though." Midoriya asks, "Why?" Ben says, "The invasion. It's starting in a few days." Midoriya asks, "What invasion?" Ben then proceeds to explain the situation to Midoriya. Midoriya says, "You're right, we need to do something." A Highbreed then shows up, smashing into the store and says, "I knew we couldn't leave it to you filthy humans. This is the work of the Highbreed." Midoriya tries to transform, but the Omnitrix is currently charging. He is left in quite a pickle. Well, that's where I'm leaving now for this episode. I do hope you all enjoy. In the next episode, I'm going to get fully into the invasion of the Highbreed. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, please hit that like button or tell me in the comments below. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments or in my Discord. Until next time, everyone, have an absolute